Alrighty, and we're off for the next game of this fantastic day here down at the Penrith Valley Regional Sports Centre for our third game of this fourth round of 5x5. Lining up, we have the Central Coast and South Sydney Roller Derby team playing the Northern Beaches Roller Derby League. Northern Beaches are in teal and the Central Coast, South Sydney is in black. My name is Titty, Skittles, and I will be with you as your host for this game. As we just get through that first jam of this one with Northern Beaches getting the lead jam, claiming 4 points and calling it. Alrighty, the 5-second call is made and the jammers are off. Moxie Monoxide jamming down the outside lane. Lead jam for Central Coast and Category 5 close behind. A little bit of blockers pushing and shoving around. Moxie snakes through, claims 4 points and calls the jam. Northern Beaches gets 2, so they will hold the lead all the same. We have skating for the Northern Beaches. Oh, hang on, I'll save that as we line up, ready to go. The whistle is blown. Both the jams there crushed down near the jam line there. Not much room to move, but the pack falls apart, and with that, Silverine claims lead for Central Coast South Sydney. Meanwhile, Catastrophic is recycled and will have to have another go. Silverine, one to beat. The captain there for Northern Beaches, and they're through. That'll be 4 points on the board. Meanwhile, Catastrophic's got the helmet cover off, so maybe looking for a penalty, a star pass there, pass over to the pivot. But Altitude has recycled them all the way back around, so they'll have to give that another go. And, well, it may be a little while until they find a gap through. Okay. You can hear the wheels of the skates pounding on the floor. Conditions are a little bit slippy today. Certainly some skaters there opting to go for their grippy skates. 4 points there for Central Coast. So, swinging it back around. Okay, so, skating for Northern Beaches today, we have 7, Ruby Whipper, 101, Sirius Juker, 111, Van Diemen, 124, Mad Menace, 145, Flippin' Beck, 15, Bruise and Ivy, 210, Metallicas, 29, Wonder Winnie, 36, Double Dutch, and we're off again. This time we have Princess Slayer, 504 there, jamming for Northern Beaches with 2 up for Central Coast. 2 up, outstanding skater. Also, certainly one of the younger ends. I think she's still a junior skater, so amazing to see her skating here today, holding her own against the open tournament here. 2 ups. 2 ups. Civilian name is actually Penny, which makes it a brilliant pun, and we do like punny names here in roller derby. As we've got 2 points on the board there for Central Coast. Northern Beaches not able to get any more there. Central Coast playing that classic hit and quit. Get in, get your points, get out. Typical roller derby style of play that we often see. Where was it up to? So, skating for Northern Beaches, we have 2-9, Wonder Winnie, 3-6, Double Dutch, 5, Category 5, 504, Princess Slayer, 666, Give 'em L, 6-7, Denied, 8-3, Catastrophic, and 9-9, Bombshell. And on the bench we have Icky. Now, as I say that, our skaters are off and happening. Moxie wearing the star there for Central Coast. And we're waiting for her to come around. Who's just got lead jam here for Northern Beaches? It is Juker Serious Juker. As Moxie gets out and starts their scoring pass as well here. So Sirius have got 4 on the board here. They're going to try and come around and get some points on the board. It looks like their team might ask them to call it. No, they're not. So Moxie Monoxide, I've got the chance. They've got to come through there now as they've got another 4 points. So even it up there, 4 apiece, I think. Moxie cleared the pack, but had got down there and got recycled, unfortunately. So had to have another go at it. Meanwhile, Sirius Duker there. Still looking for some points. I think the call, I can hear it through the venue. That's it. So they will call the jam there. 3 out of the 4 was scored. So they'll take a 3-point advantage on the jam. Moving over to Central Coast South Sydney team here in the black. We have 002, 2 up. 08, Lady Wreck. 101, Altitude. 2-1, Absolute. 1-3, Vengeful Vixen. 191, The Disgrace. 2-7, Silverine. 3-4, Bionic Bambi. As who is that? Silverine is charging through, powering through down that outside lane. Lovely work. Absolute turns around, recycles. Category 5. No, yes, it is Category 5, and just nails them out of bounds there. Huge hit. Absolute really knows how to make a good hit. And you certainly know when you've played against them. Here, Silverine getting a couple more, 4 more points on the board. And so, where was I up to? Also skating for Central Coast, we have 3-4, Bionic Bambi, 519 Makita, 555 Sugar Hits, 78 Platinum RG, 987 Moxie Monoxide. And on the bench we have Prince Harming, Redacted, Charlie Quinn, and Gordon Jumpsy. Both jammers over there being held up by the blocking pack there. Not much movement to be gained. Category 5 has got the helmet cover off. Not really an opportunity for a star pass here, so they're just going to try and take advantage of the mess that happens in the chaos of roller derby. Silverine takes a huge hit there from the Northern Beaches blocker. Very nice from 1-5. That is Bruise and Ivy. And as they say, that's got to hurt. Also, catastrophic here, jamming for Northern Beaches and 2 up for Central Coast. 2 ups, madly searching side to side, and has taken a unfortunate hit to the face, I think. We'll have a quick moment here, timeout. Check in with our team from St John's Ambulance, who'll make sure they're doing okay. And in that meantime, I'm going to quickly go through. Here we've got for officiating for this game, we have Jim Peckable, Snarls Dickens, Boom Tish, Knitting Police, Killer Tits, Tickles, Mad Tricks, and Bald Bearing. Wearing Team Zebra for us here today, with the whistles in hand. And then also on our NSO, our non-skating officials team, it takes quite a few people to make this happen. We have Tinker Belter, Seath Lord, Benalty, Mr. Tits, Geek Girl, Candy Stripper, Even Steven, Leo Slayer, Payne, and Slidey Whiplash. Alrighty, so 2 up has been looked after, and we're back up and skating here just in a moment. Jim Peckleville there just having a quick chat to the blocking team. Might have been a high block penalty, I think, there. So that is 1-2-4. 1-2-4 Mad Menace taking the penalty for Northern Beaches. 5 seconds is called, and we are off. Moxie Monoxide and Princess Leia both jamming here. Moxie gets through, lead jam. Princess Leia takes a hit on the inside from Altitude. That's not going to be able to find a way through that way. And before they set up, have another go. Moxie sneaks through. Thought they had it, but not quite. Beautiful awareness there by Altitude to just open the gap for her. Enough to keep Princess Leia from getting around, but enough for Moxie to get through. Moxie's now got 4 points on the board. We'll have another go here. And with that, 10 points on the jam for Central Coast, 0 points for Northern Beaches. Now, the way 5x5 has been organised this year, there have been 2 different pools of teams. Let me, if I pull that team list up here. As the 5-second whistle is called. I will explain why I'm talking about this, but for now, Silverine and Sirius Juker are going to have a go at jamming. Absolute taking a penalty there, so they will head down to the penalty box. Meanwhile, both jammers still stuck in the sad place in that 3-wall. Very, very hard to get through. 101. One more to beat Sirius Juker, and they're through. That is a lead jam for Northern Beaches. They haven't had many of those for a little while, so it's nice for them to get another round of that. Now, Silverine's got the helmet cover off, so are they looking for a star pass? They can't really get a star pass because Absolute, who is the pivot, who they would normally pass to, is in the bin. So Absolute's just finished serving their 30-second penalty, so they'll also be back on track, as Sirius Juker also is looking to hands in the air. I think a little bit frustrated perhaps that their team was on the wrong side of that pack there. As the lead jam, you kind of, as they're coming in, they sort of wanted to get through and maybe sneak a pair of hips or two on Central Coast, South Sydney, but blockers weren't in a position to do that, and so had to call the jam early. Alrighty. This time, Category 5 driving through. There's a lot of bodies all in one. There's that 2-4 from Central Coast came in. Was that Mad Menace again? A huge hit. And no, Category 5 has taken a track cut, so they will have a 30-second timeout, and we will have a power jam for the Central Coast. A lot of work going on here by Category 5, looking for an opportunity to get through, but getting past Makita and altitude is a tall ask. They have been skating together for a long time in the Newcastle comp, so they've got a lot of time on skates together. Mikita comes around. They have taken they've got the star now, so they've had a star pass completed. Jammer just decides that they're going to share it around, maybe a bit tired. So, of course, this was a full 2-minute jam, so quite a big challenge for any jammer to last the distance. 3 points on the board there for Category 5 in the end. 12 for Central Coast. Now, as I was saying before, we've had they've had 2 individual pools of teams that we've been playing, and the top 2 teams from each pool will advance to the playoffs and effectively the finals. So we have the Northern Beaches have got 1 win and 1 loss, and Central Coast have had 2 losses, which means, and Inner West has had 1 win and 2 losses because they've played their 3 games. So this sort of all rounds it up to a point where I'm saying is that Central Coast needs to win this game, but they also need to win on the margin, because otherwise Northern Beaches and Central Coast will be on the same. Otherwise, Northern Beaches will win on the points differential. Currently, Northern Beaches is up in positive on 73. Central Coast is on negative 49. So as Monoxy runs around the outside there to get lead jam, Central Coast are putting on the points today. So if Central Coast win this game, Northern Beaches will go through to the playoffs effectively, as long as they maintain a winning margin of 122 points or less. If Central Coast wins by a margin of over 122 points, they will go through to the playoff round. And we're 15 minutes into this. We're halfway through the first half of the game, and I tell you what, Central Coast look like they could do it here. So they certainly can't afford to let off the gas. I might have a chat to Prince Harming at halftime and see if they're informed of that one, because you'd hate to miss out on that. Alrighty, so Absolute in there blocking around for Central Coast. But okay, 2UP is back wearing the star, and it's good to see them back. We like it. And meanwhile, who is wearing the star here? Have we got a star pass? Oh no, sorry, it's a power jam start for Central Coast, because Catastrophic was in the bin at the start of this jam. So they're standing, so they'll be on track just a second. Meanwhile, 2UP's got 4 points on this jam so far. And here comes Catastrophic around. And they enter the track. And they're in, and they'll need to start their initial pass before they can start their scoring pass. So a little while to go there. Meanwhile, 2UP coming with the speed. Little twizzle to the side, bounce off the outside, swap to the inside. Beautiful agility on the skates there by 2UP. We love to see it. 4 points, 8 points on the jam. All right, so Catastrophic is through and has completed their initial pass, so they'll be able to start their scoring pass now. But, of course, as I say that, the bench crew for Central Coast start asking them to call the jam, and so 2UP gets the 4, calls a jam, holds Northern Beaches to 0 on that point, and that is a 16-point jam, which is enormous. Well done. Great skating 2UP. 5 seconds is called, and we're off and skating. No, we've got a timeout. Yes, we have a timeout because Jim was just checking in a score thing there with the scoreboard team. Thank you, Jim Packable, for making sure our scoreboard is correct. And with that, Silverine, just beautiful. Step right through them. Lead jam to Central Coast. That's it. Lady Wreck takes a little bit of a bump there. Altitude is moving around, trying to get an opportunity to play some offense for Silverine, but it's not able to line it up yet. Silverine taking them on her own. And, well, Princess Leia's got a penalty for their sins. So we'll take 20 seconds sitting down, 10 seconds standing up before they're allowed to return to the track. And meanwhile, Silverine and the Central Coast bench crew are aware of this, and so they opt to call the jam. That gives them a power jam start. Means that all their blockers have to worry about is making the space for their jammer. A lot less going on when there's only one jammer you have to worry about. So Absolute here jamming for Central Coast. I don't see her jam very often, but, well, just cruise right on through around the outside there. So lovely work. And we've got the blocking the pack there. What they're doing is they're just going to sort of hold the pack up there. They've got 4 players, Central Coast, and Northern Beaches only have a few less. So they're able to control the speed of the pack, and as they get further away from the pack, they have to drop off one by one. So that's sort of what's going on with there for the power jam play. But in the meantime, off we go. So Princess Leia is back on track now. So no longer power jam. We've got two jammers on track. Altitude there, just one to beat around the outside. They're able to make it work. And the pack reforms around Princess Leia, who also finds that space around the outside. Some toe stop work there, staying in bounds. Lovely work. Altitude, Absolute, also crashes through 111 Van Diemen. It's a lot of laps, Absolute. 12 points on the board to nothing. Dominance from Central Coast, South Sydney in this first half so far. 10 minutes more to go, so a little bit yet to play. Northern Beaches have had a habit of coming back in the second half, so we'll see what comes of that. They're not out yet. Now, lining up here, we've got to have 2 up jamming for Central Coast and Sirius Duca jamming for Northern Beaches. You can see Makita and Vixen there blocking for Central Coast, just having a quick strategy chat. And whistle's gone, and they're off. 2 up, almost found a spot, but just couldn't stay up on the 2 feet, so went down. Looking for space on the outside. Huge push there by Givamel, blocking for Northern Beaches. Lovely work. And there's also some big pushes from Vixen, blocking for Central Coast there. South Sydney thought they'd got through, but no, they've got they've taken a penalty as well. I think that's a high block, so they'll have another 30 seconds out, and we have a power jam. Power jam this time for Central Coast. So they will get 30 seconds of uninterrupted time where all they have to worry about is helping their jammer through. And so off we go here now. 1 to beat, 2 up. Lovely. Outstanding skater that she is certainly one that you don't want to be giving a power jam away to. But minimize the damage. It's only been 1 lap because I had to do the initials. So Sirius Duke is now back on. 2 ups through for another 4 points. And Sirius Duke has also found a path through around Makita there on the outside to get their initial going on. But that'll just mean that 2 up will call the jam and hey, go, you know what, actually, I think it's time you stopped skating so that I don't have to worry about you scoring points against me. Cruel game this is sometimes. Silverine gonna jam here for Central Coast and Category 5 for Northern Beaches. You can see Moxie Monoxide just setting up here on that outside line there, looking to play some O for Silverine there. And they do indeed, but Silverine is also gone down, so not able to take advantage of the O, unfortunately, but Category 5 is through, so their gain. Moxie finally through, was taken the star. So star pass to Moxie Monoxide, and Category 5 decides, you know what, I'm going to call the jam. It's 4 points on the jam for Northern Beaches there. We'll just wait for that scoreboard to update. Hang on, we're going to just have a quick, I think they will have to call they'll call an official timeout. Oh no, they did fix it. So we're on to the next jam. Whew. That's cutting it close, folks. Absolute is out and jamming here for Central Coast, and Catastrophic is behind. Absolute just crushing through there. Bruce and Ivy trying to put up a fight, but just wasn't a match on that particular occasion. Five-second call is made as the pack now comes menacingly closer to that jammer line. 2 up there, skating for Central Coast. 1 to beat. Lovely work by Makita to get the space through for her. But Princess Leia is close behind, and they've actually got lead jam here, so probably likely that Princess Leia will call the jam, maybe. That's what you traditionally expect, but no, they're going to run it. So Princess Leia also must have seemed to think that they're going to be able to get some points, more points here than 2 up on the matchup. So let's just see here. 2 up's just got to get through this whole 4 wall here. Jim Peckable's got his hands up in the east, keeping an eye on the pack there. 2 up is through, so 4 points on the board here for Central Coast. Princess Leia needs to get a... Now Princess Leia can get... Yeah, they're calling, okay. So they're going to call the jam here. Did they get 4? They did get the full 4, so it's going to be no change in terms of the lead. Actually, no, I take that back because 2 up snuck 1 point. 2 up's holding Fink 2. She reckons she got 2. Oh, yeah, she got 2 indeed, because there is someone in the bin. So when you first pass your first pair of hips, you get the points for whoever is in the bin at the time as well. They're considered as passed. And with that, 5-second whistle is blown. Silverine is through. Jamming here, as well as Sirius Duca jamming for Northern Beaches. Silverine takes a big hit on the outside there from Bruce and Ivy, so they'll have to come through and have another go. There's a number of players not on the track for... Oh no, there's just one Central Coast blocker in the bin. And we have both skaters madly going after each other here. Are they going to take each other on? They do! Oh, with the juke from Sirius Duca. Should have known it was coming. Silverine Sirius Duca holds their balance and stays in for 4 points. They need more of this, don't they? Sirius looking for 1 more to beat to get that 4 set. Yeah, they're going to call it there. That'll be 12 points on the jam for Northern Beaches, 4 on the jam for South Sydney. Blink and you'll miss it. Remember us saying that Central Coast, to go to the playoffs, will need to win by 122 points. If they do that, they will advance to the playoffs. Otherwise, it is Northern Beaches. So you could say this is Central Coast's to win and it's Northern Beaches to lose. Alrighty, team timeout here called by the Central Coast here. So they're going to take a moment just to have a quick check-in. Review here, catch your breath. You don't want Northern Beaches to think that they've got an edge and they're going to get in on this game. So they're certainly going to just take a stock for a minute. Five seconds is called as Absolute and Category 5 both having a bit of a dance in the back there. Big fall from 111, that is Van Diemen. Absolute, big, powerful jammer, and she is fast too. Meanwhile, Category 5 still stuck there as Absolute's got lead jam here, so they're going to come around for their first scoring pass. One blocker from Northern Beaches in the bin, so there's one less player that have to get around on track. And they do so, one to go. They go to ground, but they'll call the jam. 4 points on the board there for Absolute to Northern Beaches, nothing. Probably get another 2 jams or so into this game, into this half, before I'll take a break. Alrighty, and with that, whistle's blown. What's going on? Oh, yes, we have another timeout. This one is an officials timeout. Five seconds is called and we're off. This time it is 2 Up and Catastrophic skating for their respective teams in the jammer. Star, 2 Up, got 2 to beat there. Bruising through. Got to get through. Yep, that's it. Got to get through Bruise and Ivy, and they do so. Lead Jan to 2 Up for Central Coast, South Sydney. And Catastrophic pumping the legs. They're through as well. No, it looks like they've gone out of bounds. So they'll have to go back to the start so they don't cut in front of Makita. That's what Makita's doing there, cutting the track. And Catastrophic gets a track cut in another instance, so they will have a 30-second timeout, giving a power jam to 2 Up here. And 2 Up decides, you know what, I'm going to call the jam here. We'll have a power jam start. That'll be nice for the next jammer. They're looking pretty tired, but hey, look, 8 points on the jam there. Nicely done. Five-second call is made. This time, Silverine will be jamming for Central Coast, South Sydney. And they hit hard into the back of that wall. There's a whistle blown. Forearm penalty to Vixen. And there's now lead jam for Silverine. Catastrophic is standing, so they will be back on track any moment now. See, Silverine has a quick twizzle connect with the hips on the back of the blocking pack there. Catastrophic has now also joined the track, so they'll be coming down on that inside there. Moxie and, who was that one? Moxie and Bionic Bambi there, making the block. And that is the end of the first half of this match. So, Central Coast, South Sydney, 130 points to Northern Beaches, 38. Remembering, of course, that Central Coast will need to win by 128 points to win to get into the top bracket for the playoffs. Central Coast currently have 2 losses, no wins. Northern Beaches have 1 win, no loss, 1 win, 1 loss. So to win by 122 would bring Central Coast up by they'd have the same number of wins and losses, but Central Coast would be ahead on the points differential, and that's what we're watching here, folks. I'll be back in just a couple of seconds through the magic of video editing. Signing out. All right. Alrighty, and you heard that whistle through the magic of editing. We're back for the second half of this game between Northern Beaches and Central Coast roller derby. Central Coast needs to win by 123 points or more to finish second in the bracket and make the playoffs. And we're off here. This time, Sirius Juker jamming for Northern Beaches and Silverine for Central Coast. And with that, Sirius Juker is off and lead jam. Silverine coming back around, trying to put the star back on the helmet. They'd taken it off earlier during that to get their initial done. Sirius Juker takes a hit on the outside there. Makita helps them back up again. It's nice to see. Big bump, 4 points, Northern Beaches. Five seconds called here. Absolute and Category 5 takes a huge hit there on the shoulder. Category 5. I think that was Moxie making the hit. Beautiful contact. Absolute driving the way through there on the outside. Beating Van Diemen to get through there. Lead jam for Absolute. Skater on the ground. They've picked up a penalty there along the way, and we're off and going. Absolute lead jam here. 4 points on the board now, and Category 5 is right on their tail. Absolute probably going to look to try and sneak a couple of points here, get past a hip or two before calling the jam. Let's see. Did they do it? Not quite. Category 5 had closed the distance. Northern Beaches nice and organised on their rotations. Catastrophic coming along, and 2 up for Central Coast here jamming for their respective teams. Altitude, they're getting in to play some offense, leaving just Vixen and Bionic Bambi to do all the blocking work there. But they were able to pull it off. 2 up coming through to get Lee Jam there. Difficult decision to do, but they made it work. As we come around for the Catastrophic comes around for her scoring pass, but it's not able to get there in time. They claim another 2. They claim 2 points and call the jam. Five seconds is called. Makita here, right up on the jam line, not leaving much space for the Gems to get through. And a great shot of ref Killer Tits, keeping a close eye as the outside pack ref. Princess Leia takes a big hit as Altitude knocks them out of bounds. Beautiful work. And Altitude and Makita set up for a block on Princess Leia there, slowing them down as Silverines on Lee Jam, scoring past 1 to beat. This pack has got some speed, bouncing off Van Diemen, and they are through 4 points, and they will call the jam. Five-second call is made. Serious Juker and Absolute both jamming. Absolute puts a push on Serious Juker as well as they're trying to give themselves some space to get through. Absolute there's skating backwards, trying to find a spot. Not able to make it work, and Serious Juker will be through to claim lead jam for Northern Beaches. Excellent stuff. Abby's also through now, so will be coming through to get some points up. 4 points there for Northern Beaches on that one. And we have a close game. As I was saying earlier, Central Coast need to win by 123 points or more to come out on top of Northern Beaches in the table. So, the stakes are set. Both skaters lining up, looking for a spot there. 2 ups going down the outside. That lane 4 opening right up. Metallicas was too focused on helping their own jammer through that wasn't able to make most of it. A call from Icky's bench crew for Northern Beaches is to get a move on. So the pack put on some speed. Category 5's driving there on the last one there to get through. They've completed their scoring pass, and we'll come back around and put on some points, but I can hear the call from Prince Harming benching for Central Coast to call the jam, and they do so. Probably call came in a little bit late there from the jammer, allowing Northern Beaches to pick up 3 points for Central Coast's 4, so probably would have liked to have got a couple more there. Oh no, sorry, 3 points apiece, so even Stevens, not usually. Oh yeah, no, hang on, yeah, there is a quick just an amendment there to the score. There we go, fixed it up, there we go. It was 4 points on the jam there for Central Coast. Alrighty, here's now we got Silverine going to jam here for. So Moxie's just having a quick chat. What's the plan? Moxie setting up on that inside line over there. Catastrophic's also, and then also you've got Van Diemen coming in as well to just neutralise the offense offered by Moxie there. Clever play, paying attention. Van Diemen's also there to try and recycle Silverine, but they pick up a penalty there. So that is also gone the other way around as well. Catastrophic is got lead meanwhile, so they're looking to get on some points here. Silverine just colliding into the back of those Northern Beaches blockers. One to beat. They've taken a tumble. Little hit from someone there. Catastrophic puts 4 points on the board here. They put 4 points on the board. They'll have to amend that surely. And meanwhile, the Scar pass has been completed. Silverine passes the star over to Moxie Monoxide. Should be 6. Alrighty, and we kick off the next one here. Absolute's taking a tumble. Oh, there's a couple of bodies all mishmashed around in there. Can get very chaotic. Absolute jamming. But meanwhile, here we go. We've got. I'm going to wait for them to come around to catch their name. It is Princess Leia, Lee Jam. Absolute has found a way through in the meantime. Absolute just cruising around on that inside. One hit on the back, and they are through. A legal hit on the back, of course. In roller derby, folks, there is sections on the body that you aren't allowed to make contact with. You're not allowed to engage with contact between, effectively, someone's shoulder blades. If you did that, it would be called a back block. So, shoulders is fine, middle of the back, not allowed. All right, we do have a timeout here. I think it's a team challenge, so. Looks like Prince Harming's over there. He's going to have a chat to the refs, and he'll outline. If it's a good challenge, he'll outline what he saw, what the player was, who the player was, and effectively what the call he thinks should have been. Prince Harming is a ref from time to time, so he does know the ins and outs of how to convince your ref crew of what the appropriate call should be. As Jim Peckable takes a quick skate over to the team. Jim has a quick chat to the scoreboard crew. It is quite important, roller derby. We do pay a lot of attention to that scoreboard, and it is important that it stays up to date because it will influence and affect the strategic decisions that the teams will make in terms of when to call a jam, when to not call a jam. As I say, that 2-up was faking to the inside and swapped to the outside lane. Not able to get through first, though, as Therius Duker gets lead jam for this one. serious juker. Oh, beautiful juke. Takes a hit and they're down. They'll call lead jam. 3 points to Northern Beaches on that jam. Northern Beaches do have a way of coming back in the second half. Five seconds is called. Moxie and Category 5 both jamming. Metallica's on the outside, taking a hit, trying to play some offense for Category 5 there. Open up the space, make it a little bit harder for the blockers to do their job. So Category 5 has the easier time through. Moxie's also through right behind, but Category 5's cleared the pack first, so they will get the lead jam. Oh, there's a hit from Moxie. Moxie and Category 5 calls the jam. We don't often see jammer versus jammer, but when we do enjoy the action provided by our skaters. All right, Catastrophic and Absolute this time jamming. Absolute already brawling through a couple. One more to beat, a spin around there through. Catastrophic still has got to find a way through that three-person wall. Those three-person walls are very agile. They have an ability to move across side to side. There's usually one person facing your direction and calling out to the others, so they're very agile and it's very hard to trick them. Calls heard throughout the building for them to call the jam, and they do so. 4 points for Central Coast, none for South, for Northern Beaches on that one. Five seconds, and we're going to be back into it. Okay, and with that, 2 up, dancing down the inside there. 2 to beat. Princess Leia, meanwhile, is stuck behind that wall, but it also degrades into just a mass of bodies moving around the track. 2 ups swooping around here as the lead jammer. Two up, looking to score some points. Hit and quit, classic derby, and they do so. That's a full 4 points. And so Central Coast, South Sydney just eking that point differential up again. As I said, they need to win by 123 points to advance through, so let's see what can come of it. And there's going to be a review raised here by Northern Beaches. Usually the things that we're looking for, the teams are likely to bring up a review for are things such as usually they're looking for a couple of points maybe because you think the ref might have miscounted. Or you're looking to potentially put someone in the penalty box for an infringement. Sometimes that could be a jammer, so you could get a power jam out of it. That's usually the big calls that you hope that the refs get right, but also if you think that you've been hard done by a call, those are the times you're likely to want to use your official review. So the way it works, you've got one review. You can use it anytime during the game. If you are successful on the review, if your review is successful and the decision that was made by the refs is overturned, of course, you do get to retain that and you get to use it again at a later date. You can also opt to choose to use that review as a regular timeout instead. So that's the other way you can go around it. But, of course, Northern Beaches has 3 timeouts still to use, and Central Coast have two normal timeouts to use. So you probably use those timeouts first before you use up your team review. All right, Impeccable there, also having a chat now with the team, bench crew, explaining what the decision has been based on the review that was raised. Alrighty, Jim signals to the team. They're going to get back up and happening in a second here. So post timeout, we'll get 30 seconds and then we'll be into Derby again. Alrighty, so off we're going again. We've got Sirius, Juka, and Absolute jamming for their teams here. Absolute just brawling their way through as they tend to do. They've got one more to beat, and they are almost with a quick spin, shrug off the blocker. They're able to make it work. Lead to Absolute, but Sirius Juka is right behind. It's certainly a challenge if Sirius is going to take them on. Sirius decides to not to, and instead Absolute simply calls the jam. Allows us to review it all over again. Five-second call is made. 2 up and Category 5, both jamming here. The whistle blows and they're off. Category 5 really jumping on those toe stops. A lot of toe stop block there. Try and get through. One blocker to beat, but they're not able to do it. They take a hit and they're down. Meanwhile, this is 2 up, has through and is lead jam for, oh no, sorry. Category 5 is lead jam here, and they're going to call the jam. They did get a scoring pass through. No scoring pass done. They must have cleared the pack first and got recycled. All right. Reset, and we go again. Absolute and Catastrophic Absolute. Brawling down Winnie on that outside lane. One more to beat. They do their trademark spin and they just drop off the blocker like it's nothing. Vixen there, nice little recycle on Catastrophic, making them have to go back and start all over again to avoid a track cut penalty. Meanwhile, Absolute has returned to start their scoring pass. They've got through a number of players. Can they do it? No, they can't. Not this time. Winnie takes an enormous hit from Makita there. No penalty is called, but I think they didn't mean to hit that one that hard. Altitude's back again, this time as a blocker. Meanwhile, Princess Slayer is on Jeb and will get lead jam this time. Nice to see. Couple little crossovers on their way around. This time looking for where are they going to go. They opt for the outside lane and they find a way through on this Disgrace. So meanwhile, we've had a star pass over to Moxie. So Moxie's going to come here now and basically be the now jammer. And Princess Slayer is back now looking for some points here. Forced to ground by the Disgrace. And Moxie's coming back in as well now. So Princess Slayer calls the jam before Moxie's able to get in, taking the advantage of 2 points. Five seconds. The jams just keep coming, folks. We got Serious Juker and 2 up. Serious Juker takes a big hit from Sugar Hits and stuck in between them and Lady Wreck. Meanwhile, 2 up has found a path through to lead jam. A bit of help from Bruce and Ivy makes the space for Serious Juker to get through. They've still got a couple to beat though. 2 ups take us a hit from Bruce and Ivy, but they're not pushed out, so they're able to keep fighting on without getting recycled. They take another hit from Bruce and Ivy, and I think the whistle's blown there. I think it'll be a penalty. Yeah, Bruce and Ivy takes a misdirection penalty there on 2 up. You cannot skate in anti-derby direction into another player. So derby direction is anti-clockwise. If you skate regular clockwise, it is called anti-derby direction, and that's fine. You can skate that direction as long as you like, as long as you don't contact another player. And that's unfortunately what Bruce and Ivy was guilty of, so takes a penalty. Meanwhile, Absolute just found a way through on the outside of Demon to get lead jam here. Makita's driven through there from Bionic Bambi. Big hit on Category 5. Force them out again. Excellent blocking work. It's one thing to get over and block a player yourself. It's another thing to forcibly grab your friendly player and push them into the way of the opposition. And that's exactly what we saw there with Bionic and Makita. A lot of trust in each other's skaters' abilities to just get it done. We've got a timeout called. Two up and Altitude just trying to communicate across to their team. They're short a player. They will need 2 blockers, 1 jammer on track, as the Central Coast do have 2 blockers in the bin. They are sitting, so they're at least going to be down for a few more seconds plus 10. So when you are serving a penalty in the penalty box, you spend 20 seconds sitting down, 10 seconds standing up, and then the penalty box timer, that's the person standing behind you with a clipboard and a stopwatch, will tell you you can then return to the track. So they will call your name and then your colour, and then they will say go. At that point, once they say that, you're allowed to return to the track and carry on skating. Northern Beaches have certainly picked it up here for as Central Coast have their moment in the sun. Mad skills. All right, they go back the other way to undo the dizzy. The things that you get up to during the timeout time in a derby game. It's very nice. So yeah, so the ref team, they break. They finish their conversation. Unfortunately, I'm short an offsider to commentate this game, so not able to get the inside word. Whistle is blown all the same. Hang on, we've got another timeout. We've got a team. Wait, no. I'm just looking, keeping an eye on the jam timer. That's the man wearing the black shirt, waving his hands around, standing in the middle of the track. He is just standing on track, waiting to get some things organised here. And he is responsible for. He'll sort of just wave his arms around in certain different directions, which will sort of communicate on what exactly is going on in terms of the time. So we're still in timeout, and he blows his whistle. It'll be 30 seconds until we go into jamming again. There's a bit of a conversation. Here we go. He blows the whistle. So that will be 30 seconds until the jam starts again, as Catastrophic and Two Up finally get skating again. And that's it, 5 seconds and we're off. Catastrophic snaking from the inside to the outside around altitude. Moxie's pushed out in the process, makes their way through. Lead jam to Northern Beaches for Catastrophic. Two Up though, having a bit of a time getting pushed around by the Northern Beaches blockers. Can hear Icky's voice from the Northern Beaches bench about the strategy call. They're up by 4 on this one so far. They haven't called, the call hasn't been made to call the jam yet, so they're going to keep going. Catastrophic coming around the back straight there. 2 Up goes to ground, picks up another 4 points. Very nice as 2 Up gets recycled. We now have the full skating pack back on track, so that will, of course, complicate things just a little bit as there's more bodies for everybody to navigate. Catastrophic taking on Vixen down the inside. Wasn't to be. One more to beat. Can they go it right in front of me? Yes, Catastrophic takes a hit and they're being pushed out of bounds, so they'll get recycled by Vixen. Nice play. Catastrophic decides to call the jam, and that will be all it wrote. 12 points on the jam for Northern Beaches and 4 for Central Coast. It's just teetering on the edge here. Central Coast need that extra 20-odd points to seal it into the playoffs. See if they can pull it off here. They've got 8 more minutes, so certainly a power jam going your direction can do it. Absolute is just bruising her way through this Northern Beaches blocking crew this game. Princess Leia's stuck in the sad place in that 3-wall. We got the Disgrace and a couple of other skaters just making it work. Makita and a bunch of other skaters deciding to waterfall off there, so you sort of equally space your blockers so that you still maintain a pack whilst keeping the pressure on the jammer. Doesn't work out this way, but this time Altitude comes around for another lap. Princess Leia down on the ground. Hasn't started their scoring pass yet, so quite a while to go here. But 2 minutes is a long time to jam. So we're halfway through the jam. So we're getting to that point where the legs start to feel heavy and tired. Absolute has now put on 12 points. So that's your initial pass plus 3 scoring pass laps. So quite a lot of work as we go into the next one. Engage again. A big hit on 210. Metallicas goes to ground. Absolute just brawling their way through this pack. As I said earlier, Princess Leia there bouncing it around on sugar hits and some other people. The Disgrace is isolated there by Mad Menace. Just not able to participate because Mad Menace just takes them out to the side. One less blocker for Princess Leia to beat, but it's not to be. Princess Leia's recycled by sugar hits, so they'll have to do all of that work again. And meanwhile, Absolute finishes another pass. That is 20 points on the jam. Huge jam there by Absolute. And just as I was saying, hey, look, Central Coast wanted to get that 20 points on. They pretty much do. Oh, I was mistaken. That was a scoring pass there for the Northern Beaches Jammer. So they do get 4. And now we're looking at a 12-point game. 112. Remember that Central Coast won 123. So let's see what we've got here. Northern Beaches get lead jam with Sirius Juka. Lovely moves. Silverine takes a hit from the Northern Beaches blocker, but it's not all the way out of bounds, so they stay in bounds and they get out. So they'll start their scoring pass. Bionic Bambi is just recycling Sirius Juka all the way back, making her do that work again. As Silverine comes in for their scoring pass as well here. Sirius Juka's got out. That's 4 points on the board for them. Silverine is still stuck on their first scoring pass, so they might have passed everybody on the team, but because they haven't cleared the pack, they can't have another go. So sometimes you pass someone 3 times and only get 1 point for it, and that's certainly where Silverine is at the moment. And as that I thought they were going to get through, but the late hit come through from Bruce and Ivy. Certainly well-timed and well-placed pressure. Sirius Juka does a quick spin on the toe stop. Lovely flourish to finish that pass, and we'll get another 4 points on the board. Just as Central Coast gets a big big jam. Serious Duker gets one in as well for Northern Beaches. And Silverine is also looking pretty gassed at this point. We're a minute and a half into the jam. There's not much left in it. Sirius has decided to run it all the way through. Silverine just struggling. Sirius just going around and around. They look reasonably calm given they've put 16 points on this jam. Fitness is good from the Northern Beaches crew. Oh my gosh, that was an unbelievable swizzle around that inside lane. Just a skate width was left by Bionic Bambi, and that's all that they needed to get through. 20-point jam, that's huge for Northern Beaches. Nicely done. Five-second call from the jam timer. Category 5 and Moxie both lining up at the jam line. Category 5 up high on those toe stops as they like to do. Running on toe stops is sort of like running in heels. It kind of has that feeling about it. So absolutely excellent skills by Category 5 there. Moxie goes to ground but gets up again and fights for that opening so that they can begin their scoring pass. Category 5 has got one to beat. Friendly fire from Demon there. Not usually the way you want to make contact with another player, but doesn't cost them in the end. Another 4 points for Northern Beaches. And there's just 2.5 minutes left in this game, so maybe a jam or 2 or 3. And yes, as I expected, Prince Harming on the bench for Central Coast calls a timeout. Timeout for Central Coast. They're going to have a quick chat and a reset. They've had a couple jams there back-to-back go against them, and so certainly a time to just hit the reset button there. Focus everyone back in. Remember the game plan. We've got, remember your training. We've got 3 more jams to bring it home here. I did speak to both teams, letting them know of the stakes, so they do know what's at stake here. They really want to get that edge. Not enough to win, you have to win by the right amount. And in this case, the right amount is 123 or more. So we'll see what comes of that for Central Coast. Altitude here, going to jam for Central Coast in on this outside corner. Catastrophic in on the middle more. Absolute just slowly meanders up, pushing their way through. The Makita comes in and breaks up the pack, so that will make it easier for Absolute to bruise their way through, and they do. Absolute gets lead jam. Catastrophic's coming behind though. Here they come. The pack has put some speed on and they're bruising each other around. There is just no opportunity for either player to get a solid wall set up. Absolute gets recycled. Takes a big shoulder from Bruisen and bounces off and just keeps going. Bruisen and Ivy there. Catastrophic is through, another 4 points as well. Absolute fakes inside, goes outside. The trouble with when you go to the outside is that there's A lot more track and ground that you have to cover around the outside. It is the long way around, so can be hard to get around there, certainly with speed on. Altitude did get the full 4 points, so looking for 8 points on that one. So, and there it is, fixed up. Okay, as we kick around for the next jam, Princess Leia and 2 Up. 2 Up's looking on the outside there. And they've got Moxie on the inside, in the middle of that wall, certainly faking that they were going to go that way. Instead, Moxie 2 Up goes around the outside. Beautiful play. The Northern Beaches blockers were just not able to get there with Moxie where they were, sorry. So, very hard to do. Princess Leia comes in full speed into the back of the pack there. And meanwhile, 2 Up is also looking for a path through. Sugar Hits takes a penalty. And Princess Leia goes to ground there. Hit from Altitude. 2 Ups come through for 4 points now, and Princess Slayer now still fighting the way through. Altitude sets up again. Just as they think they're through, they're just not going to make it. Altitude just does not give up, folks. They will fight it to the last end. And with that, they call the jam. That is the end of this game. We'll just wait for the officials there to finalise that final score here. Central Coast gets the win. But it's not to be 99 points. They were looking for 123 to win on the points differential. So by the calculations and the ranking table that I have in front of me, that will put Northern Beaches, despite this loss, into the playoffs in the number 2 seed. Well done to the Northern Beaches. It was a hard-fought, hard one, this one. Central Coast certainly made you work for it. And well done to Central Coast as well. They've had a rough season this year, but they picked up some excellent talent, and this is a great way to finish off the year, finish off their sort of 5x5 playoffs, regular season. I'm pretty sure there is a lower bracket that they will play, so you will see them back here again. But for now, this will be that. So we are at final score, so 270 to Central Coast, South Sydney Roller Derby, and 118 to Northern Beaches. My name's been Titty Skittles. I'm just signing off, and I'll catch you another time.